It's Memorial Weekend, and that means 3 years ago, Disney released their live-action remake of The Little Mermaid starring Halle Bailey. And as you can see, I have my Little Mermaid t-shirt on with Halle Bailey on it, and I decided to support. However, since it's been 3 years, that means I had enough time to reflect and meditate on this movie, and I have some thoughts that I want to share. Now, I know that for the live-action remakes that Disney has been doing over these past several years, they can be hits or misses. I still think the best out of all these live-action remakes so far have been 2015's Cinderella and 2016's The Jungle Book. Those two are for sure the top best out of all of them. The worst ones, in my opinion, are Mulan and The Lion King. For sure Mulan. Mulan was just nowhere near the Disney cartoon whatsoever. I know that Disney was going more for a historical period piece, but because they tried to do that, they got rid of Mushu and Captain Li Shang, and that was just a whole mess, no songs. At least Lion King tried its best to be faithful to the cartoon. At least they included the songs. I know Snow White was a whole hot mess, considering what happened behind the scenes and whatnot with Rachel Zegler. Other than that, like I said, the Disney live action remakes can be hits or misses. I really enjoyed Aladdin that came out in 2019. I had a lot of fun with that film. And the same goes for The Little Mermaid. I thought that was a very enjoyable film. However, that doesn't mean that the movie does have its fair share of criticism. I do agree with a large group of people that this movie deserved much better. It deserved more, considering it's starring a beautiful Black actress and singer, Halle Bailey, who took on a lot of backlash for playing this iconic role. Now, whether Ariel should have been given to a white actress, a white redheaded actress, yes, I do hear the debate. I do agree with both sides in a sense. You know, the whole thing is that in the original story, since it is a Danish story, did Hans Christian Andersen ever view the mermaid as a redhead? I don't know. That's debatable. Or did he see her as a blonde? In the original story, they never specified, but one could all assume that she was probably a white mermaid, considering it took place, I'm going to assume, right, in Denmark, since that's where Hans Christian Andersen was from. It wasn't until the Disney movie back in 1989 that they made the mermaid, hence Ariel, a redhead. And in the Hans Christian Andersen story, she's never named Ariel. It's Disney who gave her that name. Now, of course, in the Disney cartoon, her name's Ariel, redheaded princess, and she's a white princess. Now, fast forward to the 2020s era, right? 2023, they decide to give it to a Black actress, Halle Bailey, and they do decide to keep that red hair. However, as we can see in this contrast here, it was very muted, and that is one of the biggest takeaways that this film has received, considering the lack of color. I do agree. This movie deserved more pop, more color. On the left is what we actually got in the movie. Very muted, not a lot of bright colors, and it kind of misses that whimsical feel of a fairy tale. Versus here, someone edited what the movie should have looked like. Like, look, if you're gonna give this your all, Disney, come on. This was the first movie of the Disney Renaissance era, and you're having a Black actress in the forefront of it, receiving all this hate. You need to do more for her. And look at the color difference. I do believe that this movie deserved more in terms of that. And aside from the whole color shenanigans, the hot mess of the colors, my biggest gripe with this movie is that what happened to all the dresses that Ariel was supposed to wear? You know, Ariel in the cartoon, in the 1989 animated film, had several dresses, not just the blue dress. She also had the pink dress, the seafoam dress, the wedding dress at the very end. And it's such a shame that Halle Bailey looked magnificently gorgeous on the red carpet while promoting this film. But in the movie, it was very lackluster that she only wore one dress. But there's one thing about the movie that I noticed a lot of fans are not talking about, and it's regarding these two characters. Now, if you guys go through my TikTok account and whatnot, I really love the chemistry on camera and behind the camera of Jonah Hauer-King, who plays Prince Eric, and Halle Bailey's Ariel. I do think they make a cute couple, but considering the whole spiel on the lack of color, the lack of costume designs, I do feel like this couple could have gotten more, and you'll see why. If they're gonna make Princess Ariel black, considering that they hired Halle Bailey, why not also race bend Prince Eric? I mean, I just feel like if you're gonna do a colorblind casting for one character, why not do it also for their love interest? And honestly, I would have loved to have seen a Blasian couple, at the forefront of this movie. Imagine beautiful black mermaid falling in love with a East Asian human prince. That would have been something to see. It would have been a colorblind casting done right. My top pick, as you guys can see here in this photo, is Alex Landy. You guys may know him from Grey's Anatomy. Shout out to him. Whether he's the best choice or not, up to you guys. I know some fans have been putting in like maybe a BTS member or some other up and coming Asian actors. I know Alex Landy is part Asian, mom is Korean, dad's Italian. So, if you rather want to have like say a Asian actor or an Asian actor, up to you guys, debatable, or actor of a different ethnicity, maybe Arabic, someone from the Pacific Islands, Latino, or a black actor, by all means. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're going to race bend one character, why not do the same for the other character? And that would have been something I would have loved to see. And I think the best example that showcases this is the 1997 Rodgers and Hammerstein film Cinderella, where we do get a Blasian couple. And yes, most people are familiar with the animated 1950s Cinderella movie, which yes, has a blonde, blue-eyed Cinderella and a white prince, Prince Charming, right? But here you have beautiful black actress Brandy Norwood playing Cinderella, and the handsome Paulo Montalban playing Prince Charming. And it's just amazing. It's a beautiful movie. The colors pop. The costume designs are on point. And all of this was done back in the 90s. And this is still to this day a cult classic film, a very beloved classic that I think all of this should have translated into the live action 2023 Little Mermaid. I mean, look at this gorgeous couple. Look at them. This could have been this. It could have also been this. It could have also been this, and we could have gotten the pink dress and a ballroom scene, which would have made it felt more magical. Or even this of Ariel coming out of the water with her seafoam dress, and it just would have been perfect. It would have been that whimsical fairy tale of a beautiful Blasian couple. Like, Disney, come on, what happened? And yes, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed Jonah Hauer-King's performance as Prince Eric, and like I said, he and Halle Bailey had really good chemistry. However, now looking at the optics of this movie, I do think they should have race bended Prince Eric. If you're going to do it for Ariel, why not also do it for Prince Eric? And I remember back in 2019 when they were auditioning for the role of Prince Eric, actor Christian Navarro, who is Latino and known for 13 Reasons Why, he said he tried to audition for the role of Prince Eric, but the studio, Disney, told him that they were actually looking for a white European actor, which, not gonna lie, does raise some eyebrows. I don't think Christian Navarro was the right one for the role, but it does make you wonder, if you know what I mean. Not only that, I would have loved to also have seen Idris Elba as King Triton. Like I said, you race bended one character. Why not do an appropriate, right way of doing a colorblind casting for all these characters? Like, they made all of Ariel's sisters of different ethnicities and backgrounds to represent the seven seas. Do it also for King Triton. Javier Bardem was fine as King Triton, but I would have loved to see Idris Elba in the role. Not gonna lie, it would have been something unique to see. And it would just have added a little more with his relationship with Ariel. I mean, like I said, if you're going to race bend one character, why not do it for the other? And honestly, Halle Bailey gave it her all. I thought she was phenomenal, and I think all the actors did the right job. They all played their part. I just kind of give the side eye to director Rob Marshall. I think we could have found a better director, and maybe this movie would have been popping with color, and a colorblind, diverse cast would have been excellent for this project.